Hello, my name's Ben.
And my name's Josh.
And welcome back to FPL Graduates and welcome back to another video on fantasy football, where today we're going to tell you all about the FPL template, why it's in place, and the sort of players that are in this template.
Yeah, we've seen this team, everyone in our comments saying, like, why has everyone got the same team? Well, we'll explain in this video why everyone has picked these players. There's a reason why we see such high ownerships on some of these players. This year, more than most, to be fair, but it's going to be interesting. So let's get into it.
Okay, so the first player in the FPL template is Trent Alexander-Arnold at over 50% ownership. And of course, this template includes probably 3 Liverpool players in total. And you can see why here. His assists are fantastic last year. He's looked good in pre-season as well. So I think it's probably essential to have him, especially with those glorious fixtures at the start of the season.
Yeah, picked up a goal in the Community Shield. Not that that's anything to go off, but, you know, we know Trent's a great asset. He has been for so many years. There's no one better value within his price range whatsoever. Same could be said with Robertson as well, which is the third Liverpool asset that we might talk about as well. But yeah, he's a very good option, highly owned, over 50%. Over half of managers will own him. He should definitely be the first, if not the second team name on your team sheet. Sorry.
Yeah, 100%. And with Liverpool's record, with Trent's record, we expect him to potentially do even better in terms of FPL points than he did last season.
So next up, it's going to be a City defender as well. They're two of the best defences in the league. It would be silly not to have some of their defenders, especially when they're as attacking as they are with JOAO, CANCELO and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Some really decent returns last season, 11 assists and 1 goal for CANCELO. 45% owned as well. Is there an argument to be made, Ben? Obviously, they haven't signed a backup fullback yet. Cucurella is not looking as likely as it was before. Is there an argument where you could maybe say it's okay to downgrade to maybe a cheaper City asset, or do you think CANCELO is the must-have?
I think Cancelo's probably got to be the must-have, regardless of whether City buy that fullback or not. If the fullback does turn up and does arrive in Manchester, João Cancelo is still going to be the first choice on both right back and left back. He's that versatile. So, in my opinion, I think his price justifies the pick. He almost matched Trent Alexander-Arnold for attacking returns last year. And for a player in a City team where the goals are so spread, that's incredible. So I would say João Cancelo is probably the template, regardless of City's actions in the transfer window.
Yeah, one thing with Cancelo as well, you have his nailedness. Like, his 3,200 minutes is crazy numbers in that City team. I don't know if anyone actually played more minutes than him. Maybe Edison did. So really good numbers in terms of the minutes, and that's what you're looking for when it comes to City players. You need them to be playing most of the time. That's how you're going to get those big returns, and he managed to do that last season, so that's why he is in the template.
Okay, so next up, we've got the main man himself, Mohamed Salah. Again, another Liverpool player with over 50% ownership. It's really important that you get these Liverpool players in because if you don't, everyone's going to own them and everyone's going to get a big jump on you when they score some points. As we can see, like the amount of goals and assists that he bagged last season just goes to show how important he is. Lots of minutes, lots of attacking returns. I don't see it changing this season. I think he can just do as well, if not better, than he did last year.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is that Mo Salah is not even as highly owned as some of the assets in this list. It's absolutely mental. He's about around 50% owned. It's gone down since this graphic was made. So it's crazy numbers. He needs to be in your team. We've seen a lot of drafts be sent to us without Mo Salah in it. And I just ask you why. The guy has scored over 230 points in every season in the last 5 seasons. Like, that is the definition of consistency at its ultimate peak. So yeah, he's definitely in our teams. He's probably definitely mine and Ben's captain come game week 1 as well. There's even an argument you could probably captain him through game weeks 1 to 5, and you'd still come out with very good captaincy returns. So yeah, he's definitely in there, and he's a very, very good asset to have. So the next midfielder we're going to be talking about is a very much cheaper option than Mohamed Salah. It's Pedro Neto. He's in and around 20% ownership at the time of recording. 5.5 million. A lot of people are looking for those enablers to get all of these big premiums in their teams. Why should he be in our teams, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, last season his stats probably show for a lot of players that he wasn't worth it, but that was because he was injured for large periods of last season. The season before that, he's one of the main men at Wolves, and I think he's going to kick on even more Wolves have lost a couple of players here or there. Neto should be the main man going forward for Wolves this season, with the nice fixtures to begin with, which I think is the key with all of these template players. They've got nice fixtures to begin the season with, and with the amount that we can change on our team with a wild card and all of these sort of extra transfers that we're able to make over the Christmas period, Pedro Neto is a great guy to get in from game weeks 1 to 6 at least, and we expect him, potentially him or Podence, to play up front whilst Jimenez is injured too.
Yeah, it's going to be very free flow in that attack without Jimenez there. No recognised number 9. So I think we'll see between Neto, Hwang and Podence, they'll all interchange up top, which is really interesting. It also makes Hwang and Podence very good options too, as there's not too much rotation that's going to be lying about at Wolves. They've not got a lot of depth this season. And like you said, 5.5 million as well is so interchangeable this year. There are so many decent options at 5.5. It's just going to be a case of how and when you hop on and off these players that's going to really boost your rank. Because we'll see, for example, JOAO for Southampton. He's got very poor fixtures to start off with, but I'm sure when Southampton go on a good run, we'll see a bandwagon on him as well.
Okay, next up, we've got a striker who isn't even the highest owned striker in the game, which again is crazy considering he's at 60% ownership or thereabouts. His ownership's gone down a little bit as well over the last few days after the Community Shield. And a lot of people sort of moving off Haaland because of his performance in the Community Shield. Let's remember he accumulated a 1.5 XG against the best, one of the top 3 best defenses in the league. So he will produce quality chances. He will score quality goals. He's in the right place at the right time every time. And I think there's a lot of people hopping off him because, for obvious reasons, injury record. But in that City team, when he's fit and firing, he will bag a lot of points. And game week 2 could be sensational for Erling Haaland. So there's a reason he's so highly owned. Yes, people are hopping off him, but I still think he's very much the template striker to have.
Yeah, I 100% agree. If anything, that Community Shield showed me why I want to own Haaland, because he got into so many positions where he realistically could have easily walked away with that game with 2 goals. I know he didn't, and maybe he was unlucky. You could say a whole host of reasons, but his movement and everything like that was perfect. And City really played to his strengths in that second half, and that's where we saw the better chances. So I think going forward, we'll see him become an even better asset the more games they play. I think he, for me at the moment, is a slightly better pick than Kane, just because he's just going to get a plethora of chances. It's not that Kane isn't, but I think there's more likelihood of Son scoring goals as well as Kane. Whereas Haaland, I think when there's a cross in the box or anything like that, it's just always going to be him in that 6-yard line, ready to tap him home. So yeah, he's my favourite pick for the strikers at the moment. And yeah, like Ben said, game week 2, Bournemouth at home, it's just written in the stars. Next up, as I mentioned, Harry Kane. He's around 25% ownership. So we're seeing Haaland's ownership decrease whilst Kane's increases, which is obvious, obviously, if they're both the same price. Really nice fixtures for Spurs to start the season. It's just one of those situations where you can't own all of them. I'm yet to see a freemium draft that's really made me think, yes, I'm going to go with that. I think, you lose out too much in the defence personally. So 17 goals, 9 assists last season. He really underperformed last season too. We all know the Harry Kane curse in August as well. Do you think that's going to hit him again this season, Ben?
I mean, he started off well sort of in previous seasons in August. I think it's just a case of these fixtures are really, really good. Yes, he's not as template as the other players in the video, but you can always guarantee Harry Kane will probably get 20 goals in a season. So, it's a risk for a lot of managers like myself who are going without him, but the template is very much £11.5 million forward, Haaland or Kane, one of the two. It has got to be in the team. And I'm yet to see too many drafts without one of Haaland or Harry Kane.
So next up is the highest owned player on the game. Very underpriced, and that's why we're seeing such crazy ownership numbers. It's Gabriel Jesus coming in at 8 million. He is 70% owned at the time of recording. It's absolutely crazy. Arsenal have had a great pre-season. He scored, I think, 7 goals, averaging a goal every 33.5 minutes in pre-season. Some crazy stats. Obviously, it is pre-season, so you've got to take them with a pinch of salt. But do you think he is the icing on the cake for this Arsenal team, Ben?
I think he's probably priced just a little bit too low, which is why we've seen Jesus' sort of ownership skyrocket. He's had a great preseason as well, the best preseason out of any sort of Premier League striker. So I think with those fantastic fixtures, there's a reason why he's the highest owned player in the game. Okay, so that rounds off some of our template players, and they're all very high owned. And there's a few other players that we didn't mention, but I think also deserve a shout out to being in the FPL template this season.
Yeah, some of those could be the third Liverpool pick. A lot of people are making debate about this. The Community Shield has sort of made some people's minds up between Robertson and Diaz. For me, I've always been Robertson's. He's my go-to guy, really. Towards the back end of the last season, he was so good, so prolific. We saw in the Community Shield how much further he's getting forward now too, with Diaz cutting inside. So I personally think him and a million is so much better. But, Diaz is a good player as well, and Diaz will pick up points. So it's sort of just like choosing your poison, because at the end of the day, both of them could go nuclear at any given stage.
Yeah, and we also got to talk about the Chelsea boys, Reece James and Edouard Mendy. Both really highly owned players, but people have been jumping off them because of their pre-season. They haven't looked too good, but they're making a lot of decent signings in that defence to improve defensively. So it'll be really interesting to see how they start the season. It's not the best, but not the worst fixture run to start the season. So let's see how they do. But Mendy is the highest owned goalkeeper in the game.
Yeah, and our last one that we're going to quickly talk over here is Ivan Perisic. Obviously, he was so hyped at the start of the game. Then he didn't play any minutes in pre-season. And then towards the back end, he's played in the second half of one game and is started against Roma for 70 minutes. Conte's come out and said that he isn't up to full match fitness, but you can clearly see why he'll be our number one choice left wing back, basically. So it's going to be really interesting to see. His heat map against Roma was ridiculous. He was basically playing left wing for the whole game. What's your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, very good option if he starts. And if there's going to be a time to own any Spurs players, it'll be at the start of the season before Europe rotation kicks in. So it'll be worth keeping an eye out on how he starts the season. But yeah, guys, that wraps up the video. And we hope you've enjoyed. And yeah, as per usual, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube. We very much appreciate every single one of you. And as usual, I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you guys
later.